Good morning, wrestling fans. Today is Thursday, August 24th, 2023. Lance Brock here. And last night there was a new episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic talking about last night's AEW Dynamite. The go-home episode of Dynamite before this Sunday's All-In London huge pay-per-view event. And unfortunately, at the top of the podcast last night, I had to talk about the sad news, and that was the passing of the legendary Terry Funk. So on this morning's episode of GMWF, I'm just going to talk a little more about Terry Funk once again. I know I talked a little last night, but just once again to go over some things. He was definitely, like I said last night, a true legend in the business, and I was listening to Post Wrestling's Rewind Away, and there was some things I didn't mention. That I did mention Japan, but I didn't mention really what quite big of a deal he was there with All Japan and Giant Baba. Him and his brother Dory Funk Jr. at one time were actually the foreign bookers in charge of booking all the foreign talent. And Giant Baba really trusted the Funks. And also, I think I mentioned this a little bit last night, but in Japan he even had the exploding barbed wire death match with Onita, which he is remembered for as well. And even here in the United States, he had a run in ECW. He was even a part of ECW's first pay-per-view in 1997, Barely Legal. And even smaller promotions like XPW, and he even turned down the first ECW One Night Stand that WWE did, and he actually ended up working Shane Douglas's Hardcore Homecoming show instead, because at the time he thought that one would be more true to the original ECW rather than WWE just trying to make money off the ECW name. Time in the NWA and WCW, which is NWA time when it probably was better known for. I mentioned last night the famous I Quit match he had with Ric Flair, the New York Knockout. That is one that every once in a while I go back and watch. I definitely recommend, if for some reason you have never seen that match, definitely recommend checking that match out. It's a classic. Terry Funk had Gary Hart in his corner at the time, and him and Flair work a really good match together. And of course, he would go back to WCW around 2000, and that definitely wasn't his most memorable run in WCW. And go back a little bit more, I remember some of the shows in early 90s he did some commentary for, and I have went back and watched some old videos and things of his feud with Dusty Rhodes, a pretty famous Dusty Sucks Eggs shirt that he wore back in the day, and I remember him calling Dusty Rhodes an egg-sucking dog. Also, he even made a couple appearances in TNA. In 2009 is when he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Definitely deserving to be in there. One of the most deserving to be in any pro wrestling Hall of Fame, I would say. I know the last few years or so, they have said his health hasn't been that good, so it wasn't really much of a surprise. But I know a lot of wrestlers and fans, I'm sure too, have sent out tributes online. I know Mick Foley did. Foley was always real close with him. I've even heard Mick Foley say on his podcast, Foley's Pod, he said that, I don't remember how many exactly, but every time he's within so many miles of Amarillo, Texas, that he'll go visit Terry Funk no matter what. I don't remember how many miles he said that is, but if he's certain miles near Amarillo, he'll always go see him. Also, saw Bully Ray tweet out, or X out, whatever it's called these days, that Terry Funk was a mentor to him and a hero. But this is definitely a huge loss for the pro wrestling world. All the top companies, WWE, Impact, AEW, they posted tributes on their social media, and I'm sure the Japanese promotions too will do tributes. New Japan, Big Japan, All Japan. Also, I'm sure WWE will definitely, for sure, have a graphic at the beginning of SmackDown on Friday, and maybe even a video. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a video tribute on SmackDown for Friday. And that's all for this episode of 360 Good Morning Wrestling fans on this Thursday. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you have any questions, comments, you can leave your feedback on last night's AEW Dynamite Fighter Fest. Also, you can leave your predictions for this Sunday's AEW All in London. And like I said last night, you can post any memories or favorite matches and moments of the legendary Terry Funk in the comment section, either here on YouTube or Spreaker or whichever podcast app you listen to on. I'm hoping to have a new episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic tonight, talking about tonight's episodes of Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor. But I will be back tomorrow morning for the Friday episode of GMWF. Hope everybody else tunes in. And until tomorrow morning, I'll talk to you then. But for now, have a great pro wrestling day.